Hey YouTube, well this video is about repairing minor chip marks on cellulose lacquer finished guitars, and I had a bit of buckle rash on the back of this Gibson Les Paul, and also the other day I noticed there was a ding right there. So I got some cellulose lacquer here, and I've just built up the lacquer and the ding, so that's it's got a nice build up on it there, so I can't do anything with that just yet. That needs to go hard. But on the other side, I'll just turn it over. You can probably see there was a little bit of buckle rash there on the back of it. So I've just ran some lacquer into the little scratches, and what I've got here is, what you do is you get a little flat edge. I'm using a bottle top. I've got some double-sided tape, and I've got some wet and dry paper. So I'm starting off with 1200, and then I'm going to go through the grades up to 5000, and then obviously do a polish. So it's advisable just to put some soapy water on there to lubricate it, and then just carefully go through the grades. So I'll do another video in a couple of minutes once I've done that. So that's the 1200 done. What you've got to do is just got to do it really lightly, and you can probably feel the lacquer dragging on the wet and dry paper. And then we're going to go through the grades. So the next one's 2500. You can see now as I'm going through the grades and drying it off, the lacquer which I've penciled in is now smoothing down a little bit. So guys, I've gone through the grades of wet and dry on my little block there, and I virtually got rid of all that buckle rash. There's a slight little mark there, which to be honest I'm going to live with, because if you try and get all of the marks out, you can sometimes go through the lacquer and then you're into a full re-lacquer, which is not really what you want to do. So I'm just now going to give it, I've compounded it by hand just with some of this fine micro abrasive that I've got there. I'm just going to use my little mini polisher on it now just to buff it, and then clean it with some what have I got here, Dunlop guitar cleaner and polish. We'll put that over it next, and then I'll show you once I've finished. So there we go, I've just been over it very slowly with the small machine polisher, and you can see I've taken off all the compound. And I'm just going to do it with the polish, with the polisher and by hand, and then I'll show you once I've finished. So there we go, that's the back of the guitar now polished. There's obviously quite a bit of lacquer on that from the factory, because you can see where the lacquer is sunk into the grain of the wood, and where I've polished it, it's quite sort of shiny there. I don't know if you can see, I mean there are some, you can see some slight sort of lines where the buckle rash has been. To be honest, I'm quite happy with that. I don't want to be too anal about it, because maybe it'll get some more marks on it, but the majority of it's out. And as I say, if you keep going, you could end up going right through it. Well guys, this is day 2 of the guitar lacquer repair, and as you'll see, I've had my little ding here where I've built my lacquer up in it, and what I've done is I've just taped off around that. The reason why is because I need to obviously reduce the height of the lacquer now, which I'm going to do with my little block here that I've got, which is my bottle top, my sticky tape. It's a nice flat block. You could probably make something better out of something else, but it serves its purpose, and it's easy to make. So now I will just obviously put a bit of soapy water on that to keep it lubricated, and I will start to take down the top of that. So you just got to go really slowly on the top of that ding. I'll not video this bit because it's hard to hold the camera, but anyway, you get the idea. You can actually find is once you start bringing the height of that lacquer down, you can actually take off the other 2 strips of tape, because that's actually giving us 4 widths height over the top of the original lacquer. So you can actually bring the height of it down a bit further by taking off the 2 transverse strips of tape there. So you can see where we are now. I've just taken the little proud area of lacquer down. It's just above the surface level of the lacquer now, so I'm now changing and I'm going to use the 2500 to just bring that down a little bit further. And you can see that as a result of masking it off with the tape, it's hardly touched the surrounding lacquer area. So here's the next stage. I've just done the 2500 wet and dry. I'm now moving up to 4000, and you can see the little ding is just starting to blend in with the existing lacquer. So there we have the little ding filled. Now you can still see a sort of circular shape around it. Now what that is it's where it's been dinged, and it's actually cracked the lacquer around the edge of the ding. So, you know, if you want to try and get rid of that, that's going to end up in tears, because you could end up with a full sand out and lacquer job on the top of the guitar, which is not what we're trying to do here. So I'll just do the polish now and just show you when it's finished. So guys, that's the finished job done. Just see if you can see it. So as I said, you can see a little circle around where the ding was, where the lacquer is obviously cracked underneath, but the only way to get rid of that is to actually sand the whole area of lacquer out, to sand the crack out, and then do a re-lacquer job, which is not what I wanted to do here. So I've managed to just repair that little ding, so that's not sightly now. It doesn't stand out like it did. And then on the back of the guitar, I'll just flick it around. Yeah, there we go. Looks a million times better. You can actually, you know, if you want to go outside with it and look at where those lines were, you can slightly see them. But as I say, it's a massive improvement over what it was like. And it's important for me to look after this guitar, because this 2008 Les Paul Standard was actually played by Izzy Stradlin from Guns N' Roses here in my house. So I will not be selling this guitar. So there we go, minor repair techniques on the cellulose lacquer.